It's chilly this morning. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Wow. For those of you who've been to the channel before, you know we do a lot of things here at this channel. Sometimes we do interviews with individuals, People of Passion series. Sometimes we do, GoPro videos from the handlebars of motorcycles, like the Leh Ladakh series when I went and rode the Kardung Pass in Leh Ladakh in India, northern India. Sometimes we do videos just trying to show an area or a certain part of life, like Osam, like in the jungle, with Lim and his story. So 2021 is going to see more of that. Yes. Is it time to go outside yet? I sure hope so. I hope so. I hope it happens soon. Might need to buy a razor. I don't know. 2020 was pretty weird, but I've had some time to do things that I didn't normally have time for. Like this year, I made a calendar. Yeah, it's actually pretty nice. Photos from America and also from Mexico and Guatemala. Got some really great shots here. Some nice birdies from Guatemala there. That's a Mexico shot. I put the GPS locations in all of these so you'll know exactly where all of these were taken. One of my new favorite roads, MX-23, more on that later. We're going to talk about MX-23. Some Eastern Washington shots here. Mexico. Gifford Pinchot, which we'll talk about a little bit too. I spent a good bit of time in the Gifford Pinchot because I was here in Washington. Got this really great shot in the Gifford Pinchot. I'll definitely be showing some GoPro from there. What a beautiful place. So anyway, nice calendar here with a bunch of different shots. If you're in need of a calendar, link in the description. I've got a few more left. So what happened this year? It was crazy. It was crazy. But I've tried to come up with a decent resolution that's going to keep me on track, on path, on destination for 2021. And what I'm going to try to do this year is I'm really going to try to see things with rose-colored glasses. Because last year we saw, record number cringe, record number clickbait, record number pandemic. It was just, everything was almost too much. Every day just seemed like the whole world changed. And for a period of time, especially in March, it seemed like every day we would wake up and the world would be completely different than it was before. Man, it was a mess. 2020, you're weird. There's just no way around it. You are weird. But here we are, 2021. So I was thinking back on 2020, and I actually did some pretty great stuff in 2020. With a bit of luck, 2020 will actually be a really positive memory for me in the future if everything works out. I rode down to Mexico around January, met up with some great friends, Travis and Rachel, down in Arizona. Spent 2 weeks there. We went on some motorcycle trips, had a fun time. I picked up some more parts and whatnot that I needed. I was going to need for my ride through Mexico. Going down to Mexico, I was focused on making a series. I originally was headed to Mexico to make a series on mezcal, but they've been making it in a traditional way for a long period of time, and I wanted to capture that. So that fell through, which kind of sucked, but other things ended up working out really well. On my way down to Lo de Marcos, my first destination, when I left Arizona, I went up into the Sierra Madre Mountains, and I spent a week riding all through Sierra Madre. It was beautiful. I did get hit by a forklift, though.
Voy a hablar al tránsito, ahí viene el tránsito.
Tránsito.
And that kind of sucked. That was on my first day in Mexico when I got hit by that forklift. Man. But the DR is a champ, so we're all good. The first part that I'd love to talk about from January last year is MX-23. So MX-23 connects Durango and Ruiz. And it's about 300 miles. I want to say 280 miles is what it is, but I like to overestimate. That way I'm not without gas. There are no gas stations. However, you can find fuel for sale. You just have to talk to people and you can purchase fuel. But man, MX-23 is very remote. It's very twisty, and you're not going to see a lot of traffic because of how remote it is. And every turn is a scenic vista. Here, I'll check it out. I'll put in some clips. So I finally made it. They turned on the heat. It's actually hot here. I'm stoked. And as you can see, the beautiful hills behind me. Oh. Every turn is a vista. It's like you can't decide when to stop because you'd stop all day long. But so right now I'm on my way to Tepic, and I'm on Route 23, which is a twisty road for about 120 miles. And hopefully I'll be able to arrive before dark because there is nothing before that. So, all right, let's do it. wanted to take a more scenic route, go around Puerto Vallarta, but we've been experiencing a lot of rain, and this is what happens when there's a lot of rain. There's all of this water that comes down from Los Montañas, and it creates quite a churn. Right now no one is crossing because it's very fierce. So I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit, but I'm already about 2 hours in this workaround. So if I go back at this point, it's kind of all for naught, which happens sometimes. Not a huge deal, but it's a little too high to be crossing. And not only is it too high, the water is moving very fast. So it's a volume issue rather than just a depth issue. I've been through a lot of deep water, but this is some fast moving water, so to be continued. Now after riding MX-23, I headed to Lo de Marcos to go visit some friends. It was really great to see everybody after a full year of being away, and reconnecting with everyone was definitely special. But this year was different. There was something happening in the background that we didn't really pay attention to enough, I think, and that was the coronavirus. COVID in January and February was sweeping across Asia. In Europe, they were having major headline stories, and in North America, we were kind of just watching. And in March, something happened. There was during a press conference in March, the president did 3 things. He shut down travel, he shut down schools, and called a state of emergency. I was in Mexico and I watched that video, and it was pretty clear that I wasn't going to be leaving Mexico. Now, I have to back up a little bit because at the time, I was planning to stay till maybe the beginning of April, because I was going to come back and I had a bunch of work I needed to do back here in Seattle. But the whole world was shut down. And at the time, I was still in Lo de Marcos. I was really trying to work on the La Casa project. But every day, with everything happening, I was finding it really hard to be creative, to understand what was going on, because there was so much happening. Every day was a new thing, and every day contradicted the last. It was very strange. It was really all we could do just to understand what was real and what wasn't. And I think a lot of that we still don't know. Another cool thing that happened in 2020 was, since I wasn't going anywhere, I took extra time to explore my region of Washington, specifically going to the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. I went there quite a bit, actually, and I shot a bunch of photography, and I've been shooting a lot of waterfalls recently, and there's an abundance of waterfalls in the Gifford Pinchot. There's also a ton of roads to nowhere, which I absolutely love. And there are campgrounds everywhere. I spent 4 days just driving around, just in a big loop. The Gifford Pinchot is perfect for the R1200 GS because most of the roads you're gonna ride on, the dirt roads, are single lane dirt roads. And the GS loves that. And things can get rough for a little bit and you'll be fine, but you're not gonna have to do any steep hill climbs or downhill sections or anything like that. Think about, what like your average truck could do, and that's basically what your bike's gonna have to deal with. I'm happy that I took the GS to the Gifford Pinchot because the DR is just such a torment to ride. I mean, it's a dirt bike, so I enjoy riding it in Mexico, but at the same time, my goodness, it practically kills me. So, at any rate, being on the GS is always a pleasure. And I'm really happy that I got to ride all through the Gifford Pinchot this year. There's been a lot of great stuff in 2020. I was able to hang out with close friends here in Washington that I rarely get to spend much time with, but I got to spend a decent amount of time. I was here all summer. It was great. I kind of enjoyed 2020. Don't tell anybody. That's weird. Yeah. Well, I'm wishing you the best in 2021. And this is Brad R. signing out from exile. ADV on.